We're alive and we offer proof in our news right here, right now. Greetings Rummies and welcome to Rum, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing, and to our regular news roundup, our weekly sim racing news. Welcome to the channel if you're new here, and thanks to all those who come here often, especially those who subscribe. My name is Serta and I will be your host for this video. Well, it's taken us a week or so to get back on track after the immense amount of conversations we had at the Sim Racing Expo. At least we produced nice roundup videos you can watch on the playlist you can see up here. Life is kinda coming back to normal and to our normal flow of news and content. Or maybe not. We have some interesting surprises lined up for the next few weeks. No surprise is this year's Halloween, organized by SCS as every year, with a cool Halloweeny paint job we really like a lot, and the opportunity to earn this digital Count Catula plush cabin item and a plush spooky spider. Now I know how to dress up my cats for Halloween, although knowing my cats, if I tried to dress them up, they would draw more blood from me than a vampire ever would. But I digress. On the other hand, it's no surprise we're still waiting for the Automobilista 2 update promised for this month. While Reza is churning out one beta after the other, they most assuredly will miss this deadline once again. What we don't have to wait for is the newest update of the Simocube software, as it was released this Friday, bringing with it a centering spring effect, a finer force feedback scaling, and some cleanup of code and UI. And an important warning: if you own a Camus, do not update the software to version 12. Camus encountered severe bugs and have asked everyone in their Discord to stop the update. You've been warned.
Heusinkveld isn't usually known for putting out poor quality products, so we can assume that what we're seeing from their social media update will likely be as good as it looks. Up first, a new Ultimate Plus baseplate to bring the design language in line with the sprint pedals. The Ultimate Plus baseplate will be a 4-element design with a silver finish on the footplate and a familiar dappled black powder coat on the pedal mount side with 2 supporting beams below. According to the Heusinkveld website, this new design allows the height of the footplate to be adjusted, set it to the millimeter, and get the ideal driving position dialed in for your foot size and rig. One note from this is the noticeable gaps in the folded front and side edges of the footplate. It's not a deal breaker, as it's not enough to get caught on anything, but it's a drop-in finish that we're not sure is warranted, bearing in mind the €123 price tag for a pedal mount and footplate. Also, if that does feel a bit steep, the early spec Ultimate Plus is currently on sale at €86. It lacks a lot of the new features, but if that's all you need, now is a perfect time to get a hold of this classic pedal mount. Next is less performance enhancing, but if racing stripes and flames add 10 horsepower to your car, well, it can't hurt. Heusinkveld have brought a black powder coat variant of their sprint pedals and handbrake to market. Thankfully, none of the bits that come into contact with you or anything else on the rig, as that could remove the shine, or rather the powder coat, off of these critical components very quickly. You'll pay no more for the privilege, and you'll embrace the dark side with your sim pedals, at least. And while we're on the subject of embracing change, the packaging for the updated components will feature a stronger cardboard box along with updated graphics. Be sure to ogle them thoroughly before removing the stars of the show, and recycle this now improved packaging. A one-up for you and the planet.
Races of strategy, races of pace, and races of keeping out of trouble. It has been nail-biting across the races Rum has been commentating. The Automobilista 2 Community Cup was at Kansai in the 1974 Porsche RSRs, which saw a preeminent display of car control from Dan Lewis to take the win. In the Evolution Racing Academy, the drivers had to negotiate the tricky twists and turns of Zolder, with varying levels of success. Zolder ate up many hopes, beginning with those of Swedish driver Bolinder, who only arrived 5th after his win in the first race. It was Horman's opportunity to shine this time as he arrived 1st, with Sousa and Stein 2nd and 3rd respectively. Horman had made 11th at Spa, Sousa 22nd and Stein 5th. A good mix-up the grid, which shows how leveled up these drivers are. On Kansai, and for once, Drew Faze of the Curb Clippers community only made 2nd, being clearly outrun by MVRC's Welsh Sport, Grandpa Bear of the AMSU coming in 3rd. Again, the AMSU train was in full force as J-Turn made 4th. Despite that, AMSU was only able to nibble 1 point away in the championship from the distance the Curb Clippers have to them. Before the race it was 50 points, after the race it's 49 points. Oh well. RPM keeps its 3rd position despite MVRC getting the well-deserved winner points. Remember, 1st to 3rd position communities at the end of the season will get Steam vouchers from RomRom. As spectators and commentators, we surely got a lot to see, and we in the commentator booth didn't know where to direct our cameras first, as there were battles all over the place in both races. Such is the quality of the racing we show you. Thankfully, the AMAS2CC drivers have 2 weeks to get to grips with the Team RPM choice of Formula 3 cars around Spielberg, better known as Red Bull Ring. For the ERA drivers, however, tonight, Sunday 29th of October 2100 CET or 9 PM, they are faced with a new challenge at the high-speed Misano circuit in the pouring rain. Who will balance the requirements of the difficult weather with the outright pace of the Italian circuit? Tune in to find out. Hardware producer SimRep Engineering is giving their P9XX rim an overhaul, what we would call an evolution. Based on customer feedback, they've improved the quality of the magnets used in the shifter paddles and will be able to release that update in December. Remember we said it's SimHub compatible? See the link up there? Well, now you can find the P9XX rim as a standard device in SimHub, so it'll be even easier to install and configure. They also have a funky switch upgrade for the wheel, which to the uninitiated is a fancy word for a mini joystick that functions as a D-pad. Once you've bought that, you'll have to open up your P9XX and exchange it yourself. But they have you covered and even deliver a new glass for the display, so once reassembled, you'll retain that factory fresh fit and finish you loved about the P9XX in the first place. As all SimRep products are delivered thinking of people who like to tinker and do stuff by themselves, all of this is much easier to do here than with the rims of other companies, and, hint hint, SimRep should have comprehensive guidance on performing the upgrade. For the near future too, if you think the grip of your P9XX is too thin, you will be able to get a bigger grip from them free of cost, as they are upgrading those in their future P9XXs and want to keep their customers happy. Good for them, good for the customers. News about Argentinian racing sim Pista Motorsport, according to a blog post on their own website about the closed beta. See the link in a description, but be advised the post is in Spanish. They've done the usual steps in force feedback and physics, but most especially, they inform their readers they now support rain 100%, which means wet track, loss of grip, drying track and all the other things involved on the wet side of racing. Also, they introduced the Chevrolet Chevy used in Procar 400 Series B into the sim. The Chevy is a car that was produced in Argentina at the end of the 1960s, but has been used over the decades in Argentinian motorsport, especially in the Turismo Carretera series, including the Turismo Carretera Pista, from which the sim takes its name. Think of the Chevrolet Chevy as a Chevy Nova evolved for Argentinian tastes. According to them, this makes it the third type of car they've introduced in the sim, the other ones being an F3 and the so-called Turismo Pista Clase 1 series, which are front-wheel drive touring cars. With regards to tracks, they've brought Termas de Rio Hondo into the sim, a track that should be known to track fans of Assetto Corsa, as there's at least 1 or 2 track mods for it. In car handling, they have implemented forcing the use of clutch to change gears in cars that needed that in real life, and added gearbox damage if you fail to do it or do it correctly, as well as implementing tire degradation due to use and abuse. You'll see it in the graphics and you'll notice it in your driving. For the future, they are working on implementing VR for the sim, adding cosmetics to the track like grass, and adding a replay mode with photo mode, as well as supporting setups and setup changes. Also, you can now find Pista Motorsport on Steam. See the link in our description.